So if I'm showing up in your feed again, there's a reason, because it is that time for people that I know, that I admire, that I respect, that I work with, that are in my life to share something good. And today we got a doozy. My friend Brian Martin, who is with a company called 1Huddle. Brian, I'm thrilled to have you here, and I cannot wait for you to share something good. So tell us something good.
Well, Steve, it's great to be here. Something good, which I'm excited to announce, and it's been out there a little bit, but we have a strategic partnership now with you and On the Ball. It's been awesome so far, and we recently created a game for around your book. We do gamification and building out training for teams. So we have the Confessions of a Serial Salesman now in a game format.
In the game.
Get in the game a little bit. So it's been pretty awesome.
So I love that. Would you share with my audience what 1Huddle is? We've talked about it, but I think you guys obviously are way ahead of the game in taking content and, digitizing it, if you will. So why don't you share, your journey, what 1Huddle is, what you do there, and how you are helping companies do good things.
Yeah, no, we're excited about it. I mean, especially now, we're finding that companies are struggling with being disengaged and being disorganized and working remotely and all those things. So what we've done is created quick burst games to help people with communication. So we've really used gamification to help people not only with onboarding, sales training and upskilling, team building and firing up your team. Our whole goal is to level up your team, right? And at the end of the day, we use gamification to really drive it in a fun format. So it's fun, it's competitive, there's leaderboards and all kinds of things that we can now make learning fun and competitive. And it's been really exciting to be a part of. In my background, I was in the sports industry for a long time, and we know a lot of the same people. Jay Fiedler being one of them. I was thinking about your 27 chapters in your book, and I always with Jay was number 9, so I always say 2 + 7 = 9. So
right. Jay's done this show. Jay did this show early on.
Right. I did know that. I actually have his helmet right here. He wrote a little thing to my kids.
He's awesome, man. I had such a great time working with him and the whole family. They're cool.
Yeah. So it's been great. And I think at the end of the day, with our CEO, Sam Caiucci, we've known each other for about 10 years. We met at the NFL Combine. He's originally from South Florida. I've spent a lot of time down there with my former business, which I sold a few years ago, and, traveling all over and connecting with Sam. It was to really create a very unique training model that's competitive. It's fun. It's fast. So people are excited. There's shot clocks and games and built in, to get people excited. So that's, to me, it was something very unique being a former business owner to see how you can cut onboarding time in half, how you can drive sales a lot. We've had some companies, right now we're working with over 100 companies, over 100 logos, companies like Madison Square Garden, Tao Restaurants, Novartis in the pharmaceutical space, in the hospital space. And, around the pandemic too, we've just done a ton with communication and getting people to be engaged again and fired up.
For me, when I got introduced to you guys, which was really cool, that we did know the same network, and it really does validate that the people around you are the ones who are going to impact your life if you just pay attention. Me being on the road through all of those years and speaking, somebody asked me the question, it might have been you or one of the other guys, said, how much retention do people have when they're done with one of your sessions or one of your, when you're up in front of them? And I go, candidly, probably the minute they're in the car listening to the next song.
Exactly.
They're done. So what I was attracted to is the fact that when you gamify something, you're really reinforcing the learning, but you're doing it in a way that people aren't roadblocked. They're in it. Exactly. They're immersed in it. And so, and I'm not a game guy, and I found the way that you guys took my book and gamified it to be so great. So I think one of the misnomers for me, which I want you to speak about, is you can take any content and gamify it. That's what you guys are good at, correct?
Yeah, 100%. And we like to say, imagine anything you want your people to know, you put it into a game on your phone. So we're mobile first. So we like to say meet people where they are. So people can be on the plane, they can be on the train, they could be pulled over on the side of the road, they could be anywhere. And a lot of it was built around what you just mentioned earlier was the forgetting curve. A lot of people, a lot of companies are doing live training, bringing in people like yourself, and you're amazing. No matter how great somebody is when they come in, the Harvard Business Review says that within 3 days, people are going to forget 70% of that information. A month later, you're going to forget 87%. So you're going to forget 90% of that information. Whereas if you go in and play these quick burst games for 30 days following a live training, the chances you're going to maintain that information is close to 90%, even if you turn the game off for 6 months. So not only the live training, but also replacing a lot of, working with companies like, your big ones like Novartis and Vineyard Vines. I mean, they had manuals this thick. They had, hundreds of hours of video that people are doing for their training and onboarding and ongoing training and team building. We now can convert that into quick burst games. It's exciting. It's fun. It cuts all that down. It's just not clunky, and it gets the information to stick, and they remember it, and it's fun.
So I love, and obviously the partnership we created fits well because we are about learning and educating. And, so I think that the partnership, aside from the content, the people, we get along great with you. We get along great with Sam. It turns out Sam was coached by the same coach that my son Jake, which is like, you can't even make this shit up, man. It's just incredible.
Well. Yeah.
So the pandemic has hit everybody. It's hit everybody in different ways. Mm-hmm. You guys have done some unique things. Anything in particular that jumps out at you that you've done specifically during the pandemic that has helped people, manage through this?
Absolutely. I think there's a few things. One was, going back to January, February, we were a conversation with our client in a hospital-based system. They knew that, the COVID cases were coming out around the world and to get prepared for it. So we actually built games around that. We did a COVID-19 pack. Now we have a COVID-19 playbook for when people have to go to work and be prepared for that.
Wow.
So that was pretty interesting. And then also teaching people how to work remotely. We built games around how to get on Zoom, how to be efficient with Zoom, how to utilize a lot of your remote opportunities. And then we have, as you've done a lot, our single player game, but we also have a multiplayer game too. So we have people doing live virtual training where they're doing interactive. They have leaderboards and all kinds of things, but they're doing role plays and different things through Zoom and having, they're getting really effective use of the platform during this time. And I think a few other things that jump out are our gameplay has tripled year to date from last year.
Wow.
We're on pace to have 200 or about 2 million games played this year. Just in the month of April, if you took April last year to April this year, it was almost 3 to 4 times the amount of gameplay. And then we also got a number of opportunities. We tried to help a number of our clients that, were struggling a little bit during that time to help them add more people onto the platform and do different things to help out during the pandemic. We also got a lot of professional sports teams and other, corporate organizations that we offered a trial up to just kind of get in and use it for communication during the time. And, it's been great to just forge a lot of new relationships, and gameplay's way up, and, we've been exploding. So, and now I think one other thing that you and I have talked a little bit about, but, we're about to come into the biggest onboarding in the history of the United States. We're going to have 30 million people going back to work into a new environment in the next, 6 months, hopefully, or sooner. And we feel that we're kind of at the forefront of that to help people get back in and onboarded quickly in a new environment.
I love it. I think you guys do a great job of promoting it as well. Sam's been all over, CNN and, real legitimate places where people understand the power that this can do. Let's switch gears and let's talk about Brian Martin, the man. You spoke a little bit about your career, but I know you have some great stories. So I'd love to hear the things that jump to the top of your mind. And even more particularly, what did you learn over the course of the pandemic that you didn't know about yourself before?
I think, I ran my own business for a long time. I was an athlete in college. I played football. I played at University of Delaware and then Bloomsburg in Pennsylvania. And, I'm used to getting up early in the morning and working out and doing my thing, but really being diligent with your schedule. And I think, reading your book and, make your bed and drink your greens and, the grind includes Saturday and Sunday, right? See, I read your book. I read it cover to cover on a plane.
And you played the game, right?
And I played the game multiple times, but not many times have I read a book cover to cover on a plane. So happy to say that. But I think that it was just, I've always been disciplined, but to really block out your day, and a lot of what you talk about in 15-minute increments, 30-minute increments, and really being structured with that. I mean, I'm so used to driving all over, my car, I had a lease on my car. I was putting 20, 30,000 miles on my car and flying all over the country. So I never really had the time to be at home, but I'm fortunate to be home with my 2 special needs boys and my wife. The 4 of us are kind of working out of the house and, fighting over 4 computers and office space and all that stuff. So I think it's just a matter of time management and staying tenacious and realizing you can rise above. But, going through some personal stuff with my kids and things like that, I was prepared for that. They've kind of helped me prepare for that as well.
Yeah, so it's first of all, I admire that. Really, let's call it what it is. I mean, those are big responsibilities, and so when people, we've been talking to people prior to meeting you guys about the power of going virtual,
Sure.
And how efficient it is. I've only worn pants 3 times in 4 months.
Exactly.
And I've been more productive than I've ever been. I've spent time with Jake, my son, who
Sure.
so there are definitely positives to this. Speak specifically to the healthcare stuff that you've been doing, because I know that those people are really taxed right now. What's the kind of stuff that they're learning besides the COVID stuff? There's probably tons of learning going on, or other things that they need to be up to speed on. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is that gaming allows you to do it quicker as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we found, both across and within the healthcare space, in the hospitals is one thing, but also in the pharma space, communication. So if you have 3 to 5 things you need people to know that day, you can deploy this information out through a game, get the information out quickly, people can play it, and then it's scored. So the managers and the leaders kind of know what's going on, but it's also a way to people learn by going through struggles. So instead of like combing through newsletters and all of this stuff, and like if you look at just reading about like the NBA right now as an example, they're going into the bubble and medically they're checking them, every day or so. And but every player has to read 110-page documents on what they need to be doing every day.
Wow. I didn't even know that. Wow.
How many players are really reading those 110 pages? So if you take that to the healthcare space and imagine the documentation that they have to go through and things that are coming at them, we are able to take that information and shrink it down into bite-sized information so people can grasp that and go out and attack their day and know what's going on. And a lot of times, look, the first time somebody plays the game, it's basically like a quiz or a test disguised as a game. Somebody may score 20%. That's okay. But if you play the game consistently for 5 days or 10 days, chances are you're going to be 80, 90, 100%. Then, the learning curve is so much quicker and it's fun. And
that's great.
It's
trackable. And it's trackable,
but it's fun. Like a lot of companies and in healthcare and everywhere else you're rewarding the top person or the top 3 people, and also creating a fun, or not fun, disincentive for people at the bottom of the list. One thing at our office, Sam likes to, if somebody's at the bottom of the list, you remember Dory?
Sure, of course.
You actually had to carry that around the office, and wherever meeting you went to, you had to carry it for a week if you're at the bottom of the list.
I love that. That's classic. Yeah. That's great.
We're in New Jersey, right outside of New York, so we have like Yankees and Mets fans, right? So if you're a Yankee fan and you lose, you're at the bottom of the list. You have to wear a Mets jersey for the whole day.
That's perfect. I'm one of those guys. I've been a Met Jet guy my whole life, so
Yeah, that's here in New York.
I feel it, right?
Funny, I'm a Dolphin guy. I've been a Dolphin guy my whole life, and
for real.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. On a personal note, yeah. So when the Dolphins were great in the 70s, my brother was a fan, and I kind of was born into it. And I don't know if you remember the movie Ace Ventura.
Sure.
the snowflake, the dolphin. They actually had that back in the day. There was a dolphin for a couple of years.
That is correct.
And
all of the guys, I mean, I was working with the team at that point.
Right.
Marino's in the movie. Marco Coleman's in the movie. Don Shula's in the movie.
Absolutely.
And I was working with all those guys. Yeah,
so,
it's pretty cool.
So I got totally into it. I had aqua walls and an orange rug. I had gravel in my fish tank. And I had it's crazy. I mean, I just got it. I started getting the Dolphin Digest when I was 8 years old. Wow. And then when Marino came in, it was like we hit gold, and it was just amazing. And now, with my sports business, I ran sports, I started founded my own business, built it up. We had 5 locations in New Jersey. We had a bunch, and then we had locations around the country in New Jersey, South Florida, and Southern California. But guys that were on my staff and my team, because we brought in a complete medical staff, physical therapy, sports psychologists, media prep, dealt with a lot of agents, like a lot of people, Brian Levy and Goal Line being one of them.
He's awesome. Yeah, he's a great
guy. And his crew, they just re-signed Patrick Mahomes with Chris Cabot and those guys. So within that, though, but Dolphins, it was like a dream come true for me on our team, our staff. Jay Fiedler was helping in New Jersey. Chad Pennington was down in Florida. In Florida, check out these guys on the staff. I mean, you and I have talked about it a little bit, but we had Chad Pennington, Jeff Dellenbach, who was Marino's center, played all 3 positions. Cornelius Bennett, who played for Buffalo.
So Cornelius is in our group where we go smoke cigars. I didn't realize that. So I'm with him once a month.
He's the man.
Once a month. Him and Lawrence Taylor.
He's got like a 24-inch neck. Tell him I said hello. He's a great man. And
Biscuit's son is playing at Alabama now, or if they play,
Oh, that's right. I did see that.
I'm sorry, at Tennessee. I'm sorry.
Okay.
He was going to go to Alabama and change the last minute.
Yeah, Tennessee. Alabama. Because Curtis McGriff went to Alabama, was a Giants guy. I basically had a ton of Giants guys that were up here in New Jersey, and then the Dolphins guys down in Florida. Sam Madison, who's now with the Kansas City Chiefs. Sure. So all those, Chris Chambers, for years before that, Mark Duper, James McKnight. So a ton of Dolphins guys. So I still connect with all those guys when I'm down in South Florida. And, we're trying to kind of set up an express where we kind of, hopefully when we get to travel more again from New Jersey, South Florida, Southern California, and then some other connections in between when we hit those cities. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm actually on a plane in 2 weeks. And, while I don't even know how I feel about it. I'm going up for a strategic event and be managing a big sales meeting, but it's weird. It's where I'm flying into, there's limited flights, and so it's crazy. It's just like where I traveled every week. All of a sudden, like for 4 months, I haven't traveled, and I feel like a rookie again.
Wear your mask.
Well, wear the mask. I mean, I'm doing everything I can precaution wise. When I get there, I'm basically in the same place for 2 days, and then I'm out. So I'm not going out anywhere. It'll be quarantined. But it just shows you, that you take things for granted, and then all of a sudden they get taken away from you. And wow. So I think we're reorienting here. Obviously, we're excited about our partnership. I'm excited about our friendship just as much. I think it's great. And so in our last minute, what's one last thing you want to leave the audience about you or about 1Huddle? I'll share the information so that they can get directly in touch with you. Tons of information you guys provide ahead of time, case studies, all that stuff. But what do you want to leave us with?
Yeah, no, I mean, we'd love to work with anybody you're connected with. If they're either a client of yours or a friend, I mean, anybody you've introduced us to has just been a phenomenal person first. To me, personally, it's about the 4 Ps. It's about people, first and foremost, and the relationship with you and with your team and all of your connections. I thank you very much for the intros.
We're having fun. We're having fun.
Go back and forth for years to come, and very excited about that. It's about the people. And then I think during this time, what's something I'd like to leave with people, to me, it's the 4 Ps and this whole business side. But the 2 things that have jumped out to me in order are patience and persistence.
There you go.
And to me, it's in that order. For me, I had to work on that patience, because it's like I'm get up early and I want to go and I want to do all these things. But during this pandemic right now, there are objections and there are conditions. Right now we're dealing with a lot of conditions with the pandemic. There's certain things we can't control, like being stuck in traffic on the highway, right? So I think if we got great people, if we have great patience, if we are persistent, it's going to work. And for the last piece for us is we have a great product. So with all those things together,
Awesome.
in that order, I think, that's what I'd like to leave everybody with. And, I appreciate being on here and working with your team and with you, Mark and Shay, and shout out to everybody down there in South Florida. I can't wait to see you guys soon. And hopefully we'll be going to some Dolphin games in the fall. And
well, you can count on it. And just so you know, our favorite steakhouse is opened up again. Abe and Louie's.
Yeah, that's what we
were there. Right, we were there for friends and family night last week, and
awesome.
So it is open and ready for business. And so we'll go slam one of those big steaks. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for spending the time with us today. And I guess we'll go Dolphins.
Go Dolphins and bring it. Remember to bring it.
I want that shirt.
You're going to get that shirt.
Dress me up.
So thanks, Steve.
Give Sam a big hello, man. Thank you.
You're the same and Mark and the team. All right. Take it easy. Have a great day. See ya.